All right, here we go. Good morning, guys. Welcome to a pre-market show. Hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. How much excitement we had yesterday in the markets. The SPY was crazy. One of the weirdest open I ever seen. Going up, normal, and then coming back down. I'm sure we're definitely enjoying that, and just creating some crazy moves. What was your take on that yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's there was just a lot of news back and forth yesterday. The ups, the downs. I think the market really wanted to sell off, and people were selling into that pop. And then later in the day, I mentioned that the St. Louis Fed president was going to talk, I believe, yesterday in the show. If not, I meant to. And those the Fed presidents talk all the time. Some usually it doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, I'm not talking about the after meetings or anything, but that one was kind of a change in tone overall. So that popped it in the middle of the day and kind of saved it a little bit, and then sold right back off. So it was a little crazy. I think it's trying to settle in and see if it can find some support here overall.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We got a nice little pop this morning, almost 1% up. So trying to find some kind of support and bounce here. All right, folks, let's look at what we had yesterday. So here was my watch list from yesterday. Actually, MU was not here. We added it after the fact, and this was one of the low flows we were watching, which really bummed out, didn't do anything. And then these were some possibles. I didn't really see how these were trading. So let's go over these top ones here. Let's start with LK. So LK, again, we love the daily chart. LK had a nice, beautiful daily chart here with a nice little pop. See how it traded yesterday. Let's zoom in here. All right, here we go. And then let's get this one on here as well. Okay, excellent. So LK, I was watching the price action, but I did not have shares for sure on LK. It looked weak after 30 minutes or so. You see this beautiful consolidation here. Again, just kind of chopping around. Eventually settles in and it loses this low. Once it loses this low, that's a great entry for a short. Several things happening here, right? You have this moving average that comes across here that you start losing it as well. Once you lose this short, this low of the day, which tested it several times, 1, 2, 3, almost 4, you could tell that that was weak and it was going to sell off. So a nice little drop there, comes down all the way to this level over here, and then does a beautiful V reversal back to VWAP, and then just keeps going. This was very strong. And we called this out here in the chat room as a possible ABCD pattern right in this area. Here's your C level of support, and then again takes off for another leg. So again, LK, two very good moves to the downside and one to the upside. Teva was the one that was choppy, man. I thought this thing was going to take off. It had a beautiful pop here at the open, a good consolidation period I like to look for between that open and that 3-minute mark. I went long in this area here, took some out, but then just very snappy, got back and was stopped out here. Then from there, it just became very choppy, just kind of circling around the VWAP, not doing much. Then later on, it settled in and caught this beautiful pop here. I know some people caught this pop also, so that was nice. CNC, this was one that the volume was great, but it was pure chop. The price action was very difficult to manage. Brian was able to get a short in here and got most of this pop here. Then it snapped right back and he had to get out of break even. So again, just a very choppy, snappy price action on CNC. Eventually, this settled down and it started selling off, but it was so difficult to take this trade because you were expecting this was going to happen again. So you want to take a chance of getting into the trade and getting squeezed back up. You can see here it sells down, right? It sells down right here and does the same thing as it did before. So once it was losing, it was not trustworthy to take this stock. Even though the risk to reward was great, here's your risk at VWAP, you're heading towards the low of the day. It was just very difficult to trust that this thing was not going to squeeze you based on these several candles that it did here. So we just avoided, touching this one again. AMD was definitely the trade of the day yesterday, starting right from the pre-market. News comes out about them doing some type of deal with Samsung, I believe, and then it just takes off nicely. Some members also got into this trade pre-market. I don't trade pre-market, so I didn't join this party here. But at the open, you can see also just sold off a bit, just was really strong. A lot of people took also this trade here. Then it does an ABCD pattern. Robert called this out in the chat room here. This was consolidating here, nice ABCD. Robert called it out. A lot of people took this here on the support of the VWAP, and then another new high of the day. So beautiful pop here. Then this is when things just started going south. Comes back to the VWAP, tries to stay above it, cannot hold it. This is a good indication of a nice false, not false VWAP breakout. This will be a losing the VWAP, right? Getting into a trend So it loses it here. It stays below VWAP, cannot get above it again. and then just goes in this beautiful downtrend. Obviously, the SPY helped with this a lot. But this was just a beautiful downtrend here. Red candle after red candle, higher highs, higher low. Not a green candle in sight. Loses all the moving averages. So just a beautiful drop. So hopefully you guys are able to take advantage of this nice little pop. So AMD gave you a lot of moves. Gave you a nice opening range breakup here on the 2-minute. Some pre-market action, ABCD pattern, and also loss of VWAP here on a nice beautiful trend trace. So I mean, AMD. I don't know what else could you ask for that stock to give you. Another stock that traded very well, and I missed this one, and we had this on our watch list, was the opening range breakup on the 5 on Facebook. It does not get cleaner than this. Beautiful drop. Several pullbacks here towards the VWAP on the 1-minute chart, so you can kind of get into an entry here, and then it just continues to drop nicely. Norm, I know me and you both have FOMO on missing this out on this Facebook.
Oh man, it was number one. I don't know what happened to me. I was not on my game yesterday. That was number one on my watch list, and for whatever reason, I didn't catch it until it had already gotten down close to 173, and I was like, oh man, it moved. So it was one of those where you saw it moving,
right?
And I hesitated getting an early entry, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, this thing's too far gone. And it had like another $3 or $4 in it. It just was so frustrating. I had to get up and walk away.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. There's a beautiful drop here. Several trying to find some support here on 169. It does give you somewhat of a double bottom here. Not really as clean. I'd like them to be a little closer, right? But it gives you a double bottom here, goes up to VWAP. And then again, it just loses, as you can see in the 5. Just continues to drop nicely. Beautiful drop. At around noon time over here. Again, just very weak on Facebook. Apple was not as clean. Just gave you one pop right at the open. This beautiful takeoff here. Nice opening range. But then after that, it just really becomes really choppy, guys. Look at these wicks. Just doesn't know what to do. Consolidates here for a period, then goes back above VWAP. Nice double top here. Loses the VWAP again. This could be a great entry for sure. But again, just overall, since this candle here, this huge candle opening range here, it just became very choppy after that. So very difficult to trade Apple. MU was one that we added last minute just to see if it was going to be active with AMD and the way that the market was trading. But again, it just didn't do much. It was very choppy, kind of consolidated around this area here. Then finally kind of started doing a nice little trend above VWAP. Came back above VWAP really strong here on this green candle, and then just kind of slowly went back towards the high of the day. Couldn't keep this going, and also started dropping around the same time. AMD and the SPY also started dropping. GNCA was the low flow we were watching for the day. Beautiful pre-market action, guys, and then just flat out for the last 30 minutes of the pre-market hours. And then at the open, just doesn't do much. You got this indecision candle here with tons of volume, people taking profits, and then it just starts dropping and really doesn't give you an opportunity to get back, into the green here if you took this trade for the long side. So that was our watches from yesterday, guys. Again, just a very interesting day, interesting start to the week, and we knew we was going to see that kind of week, but it definitely lived up to our expectations. So let's get into some news, into what's going on your end, Norm. What is happening today or this week that we should be looking out for?
Well, I mean, we kind of hit it a little bit earlier as far as what the SPY's doing. So there is actually, apologies, I had a little technical glitch for a second.
No worries.
But, there's a decent amount of economic news later in the week. There's not a whole lot going on today. Factory orders come out at 10 a.m., which, that could move the market at 10 Eastern. But other than that, there's not a whole lot else today. Like I said, I think China came out and there's a couple of things on the trade war front. I read an article this morning about Congress trying to maybe pass some kind of a bill that would prevent Mexico tariffs, which I think might actually there be a chance of something happening with that. Congress blocking tariffs, but there's bipartisan support for that. Even the president's own party is not real keen on throwing tariffs on Mexico. So that was one thing that caused the pre-market to be up a little bit this morning. And then on top of that, China came out with a note that seemed a little more willing, let's say, to work with the U.S. and work out differences. I think meet in the middle was some kind of a some kind of wording they put in it as well. So that's what's going on there. And also, one of the members just a moment ago in the room asked, what was the catalyst for the Facebook drop yesterday? So that's another piece of big news that the DOJ and the FTC came out on Friday after the market closed and announced they're opening an investigation into antitrust practices into Google and Amazon. So those have been dropping pretty hard since then. And people worry that's going to fall over into Facebook. So that's what caused that in Facebook. And that's really why I had it on my watch list yesterday, even though I missed it. So it's
Yeah.
kind of the broad scope on what's going on.
All right, excellent. All right, guys. So as usual, let's get into our gappers list. Let's look into our Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers, see what we got going on here. Quite a bit of a list here today. So let's get started. Let's start with Soli. Soli here is up 19.8, 125,000 shares traded so far. This is a lower float, so 5 million shares. I'm going to bring this down over here. Let's put Soli in this area here in our riskier pile. So at the moment, it's got an okay pre-market action. This one's been active for the last couple of days. The daily chart doesn't look as clean as you can see here. Just small bodies, very big wicks here. Again, just want to be careful. This is a 5 million shares float, and you can see it's been very active over the last couple of days. Right now, up quite a bit, 18.8. So for the low float team, this looks good right now. It's looking pretty active at the moment. So it looks like the volume is going to get going very soon on this. BYND also has been one to watch over the last couple of days. Finally cracked 100 yesterday. Actually, I missed it. I didn't know it cracked 100. I'm sorry, the high yesterday up at what was that, 108, the new high on BYND. So again, this stock is very hot right now. Pre-market action doesn't look too great at the moment. It looks pretty flat. It has 116,000 shares traded. But again, just overall looking at the daily, this thing might want to go for another shot at that high of all-time high. So BYND has been exciting, one to watch. We'll keep an eye on this one. Next, we have FCAU, and this was a foreign stock, guys. And you can see here it trades very nasty. It does have 136,000 shares traded, but this is a horrible pre-market action, not anything you want to be involved in. And if we look at our daily chart, if you have not seen this ticker before, this is what it looks like to have one of these foreign stocks on the daily. It's just very choppy all over the place. They don't move much throughout the day, and the moves are not clean, right? So not one that is favorable to trade based on what we're looking for. MT follows the same exact situation, also a foreign stock. Look at the daily charts, is very nasty, very gappy, all over the place. And if you look at the pre-market action, also nastiness going on here, pretty flat, not much happening. Next we have AMD. So AMD is going to be fun to watch today after such a day like yesterday. I think it lost all that it made yesterday, but now it's up 3.2. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I mean, this daily chart says another story. This is pure chop and just nastiness. But if you look at the intraday, you're going to see these nice little moves like we had yesterday. I mean, this is just a beautiful drop here. Didn't know it drop. Didn't think it was going to drop so well there. Pre-market action's got some great volume. 1.6 million shares traded. This looks pretty flat right here. It's kind of hesitating, having a hard time with this level here around 28.48. But overall, I think AMD is going to put in a good day today. At least interesting. Hopefully, we can get something out of that.
Carlos, yeah, before you hop into Teva, let me correct something, and I'll thank one of our viewers who happens to be one of our founding fathers on YouTube, Thomas Jefferson. Technical issue was my notes going away, and Jerome Powell, president, the chairman of the Fed, is actually making a speech at 9:55 this morning, I believe, from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. So that will undoubtedly probably cause a little bit craziness, and well earlier than we're usually anticipating that. So just keep an eye out for that at 9:55ish.
Excellent. Yeah, that's definitely gonna have a reaction. It usually always does when one of those guys talk, right? So yeah, we'll look out for that. It's good point. We were in Teva. So Teva just traded nasty yesterday. It finally got going towards the middle of the morning. Got a little pop and then dropped off. This morning right now, pretty choppy, man. This is a very bad pre-market action. It has 161,000 shares traded, up 3%. Not sure what I'm going to do with this one today, but daily chart looks like it wants to break out of here, right? It's been making higher highs, higher lows. Even though you have these red candles, you could look at the wicks, so they're all trying to just get higher and higher. So it looks like a possible breakout. I just don't like the way this one traded yesterday, and today's pre-market action looks horrible. Keep it on here,
Yep.
see if anything develops after that, but it's not looking too good for Teva today. Uber's got some good volume, 523,000 shares traded. It's got a nice pre-market action here. It's got a nice little flow going, trying to get above this 42.58. So that's nice. Let's see what the daily chart looks like. Daily chart also looks like it wants to break out of this nasty just consolidation has been doing here, right? It's been stuck here, just bouncing back and forth between this level here, cracking down to 39.50 probably. So it looks like it might be wanting to break out here. So the daily chart looks interesting. We have several levels, 43.25, actually 42. We're slightly above where they opened up as an IPO. So that's also interesting, right? Their IPO opened up at 42 something, or 42 bucks exact, right?
42 flat it opened up at, and the IPO price the night before at 45, and it opened down to 42 and then just collapsed. The interesting thing about Uber, and the reason that this is popping, is because a lot of analysts, one of the big reasons is a lot of analysts are starting to put targets on it. Like Peter mentioned, that 45 number, that's the actual IPO price, is going to be a big target, maybe a hurdle to get through. But all these analysts are putting price targets on it. Most of them are buy ratings with price targets in the 50s, I believe, anywhere from, there's one with 42, but that's an old one. All these new ones are coming out between 50, 55, 58, 52. So there's a little bit of profits people looking at on it. But the thing to keep in mind is Uber was so massively distributed among funds and stuff before it ever went public that a lot of these guys have positions that they're stuck in at either barely positive or already negative positions. So there's a little bit of conflict of interest we talk about sometimes on those, and that's what's going on. And the quiet period is over, as Lewis is pointing out.
Yeah, so this is again, daily chart looks very interesting. So let's see what we get out of Uber today. Pre-market action is looking very nice, got some good volume, so I expect this to do something at the open. TIF, see what we got going on here. Nothing happening here, no volume. This is, what company is this? Tiffany.
Tiffany and Company.
Yeah. So no, not much going on here. I think someone asked me. I think to add. I gotta add the. They want me to add the thing on here.
At the top.
Yeah, to see the company name. How would I do that? Layout configuration. No, I think it'll be here. Let's do this real quick. There we go.
There you go. Look at that.
You can see the company name here. It's good for me as well. I don't know a lot of these tickers. So yeah, there we go. All right, so guys, if you have any suggestions that will make our pre-market show better, definitely send it to Norm and I, either through Twitter, Norm@BBT, Carlos@BBT, or our email addresses, carlos@bearbutraders.com or norm@bearbutraders.com. And we'll definitely look into it. If it's something we can do easily, we'll definitely add it on or make changes. All right, so let's get to so TIFF not looking great. Pre-market action looking horrible, really. Not much volume, so not too excited about this one. I'll keep it there just for now, but I will be most likely dropping this when we go through our final list. VTR here down 2.8, 333,000 shares traded so far. It's got a decent pre-market action on the 5. See what the daily looks like. I do like the drop on the daily. What's the float on this one? 356 million, so it's a large float. Daily's interesting. So daily's interesting. Pre-market action is so. Yeah, we could take a look at it. Then Box is the one that's really red today, down 15.5. Not the best pre-market action. It's got some volume, 253,000 shares traded. But I do like this daily chart. This is a nice daily chart. You can tell here's had a very strong level of a couple of months ago, over several months, just right on here, just supporting. Lost it a bit here, and now we have this nice big drop here. Norm, anything going on with Box that they're dropping 15% today?
Yeah, they had earnings last night. As we always talk about, there's kind of the trifecta of earnings. There's earnings per share, which is the bottom line number. There's revenues, which is the top line number. And then really most importantly, usually, is guidance. And it was their guidance that they were saying they were looking for kind of a slowdown in their space. in the in the near to midterm that really spooked some people in this one. So
Yeah, this will be nice to watch today. Pre-market action is a little bit all over the place, but I think with this type of daily chart here, you're definitely going to get some momentum. It looks like it's trying to bounce back a bit here, which could happen, guys. Sometimes we've seen it so many times where we have these stocks that overreact, right? They overreact to the news. They drop like this, and they start slowly climbing back up. So no bias. Let's see when it opens up, what kind of pre-market action activity do we get? All right, guys, let's start over here. Go ahead.
I'm gonna one thing. So Rahul mentioned, should we look at short interest as part of the pre-market analysis? And yeah, I always look at. I generally look at short interest, especially if it's not a stock I'm really familiar with. And I'll point it out when Carlos and I are talking in the pre-market show too. If it is, excessive, let's say 25, 30%, 20%, somewhere in there, because that can change the behavior of how a stock trades.
Right, correct. So here we have on top of our list PTI. PTI pops up a lot, but it really doesn't really have a good clean trading. It's not a low flow. I think this one is closer to, I want to say 20. Yeah, it's like 28 million shares float, but it just doesn't trade well. If you look at this daily chart again, it's trades more like a penny stock. It's gapping up today 23%, but again, it's just not really something that's tradable. So we'll bypass this one. LGCY also a penny stock. We'll skip that one today. AMD we have still not struggling, but really testing this level here, 28.48, which is the high with some volume. So hopefully we can crack that. CTRM has been a monster this morning. Look at this, guys, going from $5 over here up to 7, 8, and then a kind of ABCD pattern here in the pre-market, and then taking off again, making new highs, hitting 10. Losing a bit here, trying to find some kind of base. So this is very active. I'm assuming this is a low flow. CTRM, 810,000 shares. So yeah, very risky stock. For the low flow team, we have here CTRM. Again, very good pre-market action, some good volume, 948,000 shares traded. But this is a very clean pre-market action, which is what you want to see in a low flow. This is exactly the type of action you want to see. So looking at the daily, we do have pretty nice daily chart for a low flow style. You can see you got some nice pops here. So it has been a former runner. When it does get the volume, it does pop here. So and on this day, looks like we have some continuation. Opened up here after having a strong day. Oops, put that the wrong way here, and then went up even some more up to 20. So careful, guys. Be cautious on how you trade this stock. It looks like one of those BPTH type of stocks. So again, just be very careful. Make sure your risk management is on top of its game if you're trading that stock. Nasdaq ETF. Let's go over to TVIX here. It's down a bit today. Obviously, the markets are up. Another Nasdaq ETF, OBLN. Penny stock, really. Look at this pre-market action, horrible. So nothing to watch here. Solely, we have another one that's for the low flow side is trading very well today in regards to volume, right? And we know this is the former runner, but again, this daily chart is nasty, so be very careful, guys. Apple, what is Apple doing today? What do we got going on? Oh yeah, so we have a kind of like a bounce happening on Apple, also very similar to what the SPY is doing at the moment. So it just could be moving with the market. Right now, I'm not seeing one of those clean pre-market actions that we're used to seeing on Apple. So we'll see what it does here. CTRM we just talked about it. ATIS got some volume here, 189,000 shares, up 34%. Yeah, what's the float on this? Not sure on this one. 56. Wow. All right. This one is also, again, very risky, guys. Be careful. It looks like it ran out, but then look at it, hits 4 and then sells right back down 60 cents. So if you are going to trade a low flow, at least look for one that's, is trading clean. This one seems to be a little all over the place, so be very careful with this one. PTI, we looked at OESX. What do we have here? Not much going on. Pretty crappy pre-market action. It's got 140, up 20%, but not really doing anything good in the pre-market action. So out of these, you want to pick the best ones. The best ones right now, based on just volume and the way they're trading, are solely on CTRM at the moment. IDEX, nothing happening. GTXI, no volume. GOGL, nothing going on here. 90,000 shares traded. This one has 9,000. Not much happening. And YJ, Really not much going on here. So, all right, guys, what do you guys have on your end? What do you guys like this morning? What looks good? What has some volume? Norm, what do you have on your end? I know you're going to be looking at Facebook today for sure after such a day
Yeah,
yesterday.
I'll have my eye on Facebook. I don't know that I'm going to expect a lot out of it today, but we'll see. Nvidia, I've mentioned it, 124-ish was the low from December. So I'm going to wait to see where it can find some support in here if it just keeps collapsing. The only thing that these are kind of dangerous if they're not moving really and you get caught in chop because it looks like you can make a couple of bucks, even though it's just kind of oscillations or chop or whatever you want to call it. If they're not really moving, sometimes they're hard, you'll get stuck in that. So you got to be careful. And I've been waiting for Nvidia to see when it will maybe find an area to bottom, but that's about it. I mean, other than what we've already gone over on this list, and Twilio too, TWLO. So pre-market's terrible on Twilio right now, but that's actually pretty normal for it.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see what comes out of those. I see people mentioning Roku. See what Roku has going on here. Roku is.
And Roku, I'll say the exact same thing about Roku's. If you look at a daily chart, has just been hovering in this consolidation range between about 89 or 90 and 94-ish, let's call it, even though that's not the high.
Right.
And if you get stuck in that, you can just get chopped up, even though it's going to move $1, $2, at a time. It's really hard to catch some of those reversals sometimes.
Agreed. Right now it looks like, again, it's just, you're right, it has this nice little range bound it's been doing lately. So let's see what it does today, if it's going to go up, test that 94 again, and see what happens there. So Roku is interesting, guys. Right now, pre-market action is not really giving us a lot in regards to volume. So what I like to do in a stock like this is just keep it on the side, wait for it to hit our scanners. We can definitely get some levels for it. Actually, we'll do the levels now for this one since I'm not going to have, but you basically got your high. 95-ish, 86. You have this here. This could be some kind, 94, 94. And then other than that, you really got the rest, highs and lows, previous day close. This is a big support for this stock here, this previous day close, because you see that once it came above it, yeah, it did test it here. It broke down a bit, but it's been really holding that 90-ish area there. So again, that's a big support for it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so 90 is a big whole number for it. And also you got the 9 moving average for the daily just creeping right up there to 90,
yeah,
which it's been minding pretty well. So
yeah, no, I agree. So that's a good area of support there. So we'll see. It looks like it wants to break out. Just looking at it, if I was to have a bias on this. So we'll look for this to hit our scanners. All right, folks. Anything else that we might have missed? Anything else that you're watching today that looks great that we should take a look at? LGCI was a monster yesterday. Let's check. LGCI. Yeah, this was. I mean, going from 10 cents over here to 80. That's a huge pop. So today's got some volume. Again, this is more of a penny stock, so not really our style of trading. But yeah, this had a huge day yesterday. I might be putting in a continuation today. Could be. All right. What do we have here? Oh, you're welcome, Greg and Kelly. No problem at all. All right, excellent, guys. So let's go through this list. Before we do that, Norman, do we have any announcements?
Yeah, a couple of things. And I'm glad we can announce this because nobody will ask about it anymore. If you guys are already with CMAG, I think you got an email. But the new deal that we have with CMAG exclusively for BBT members, it is what is it? 0.005 per share in commissions, and I think you have it, Carlos. Can you shoot out the numbers? I know it comes out to 0.0062 per share between fees and.
Yep, I have it actually here. Let me put it to the side. I'll bring it up because I did take a.
While you're doing that, when pulling that up, I'll mention Andrew. He's going to he was invited to speak at the Modern Traders Conference in Montreal, June 22nd. June 21st, we're going to have a meetup. So we're going to have a chunk of the team, including myself, William, Peter, Andrew. Not sure who else at this point, but we shall see. Don't have to be a member to come to either event. And then I just want a huge shout out to the BBT BBT fam that in this Dash Trader Challenge that you guys are doing right now, the leaderboard is well represented at the top with BBT on it. So I know it's a long way to go. It's 1 day down and 24 days left, but you guys are killing it over there. And I know a couple more people signed up yesterday afternoon from here. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
great
that's
to see.
great. That's great to see. Absolutely. So we're rooting for you guys. Get up there and take that first spot. That'll be amazing. And you know, because the gift is great, right? They're taking a tour into Nasdaq, so that'll be fun. So what do we have here? So here is the commission structure, right? So 0.004 per share and 0.0025 per share on the ECN fee. So guys, this is a big change, especially for anyone trading under 25K in an offshore broker, because what happens is that when there's not a lot of offshore brokers, you know, they can kind of dictate what they're going to do. But now that there's competition is good for everyone. You know, someone else goes lower, well, guess what? If the other one doesn't follow suit, we're all going to move to where what's more convenient and what's more practical for us. So for those that have been trading with CME, this is great news. Read the fine print here, guys. Is minimum 50 cents per order, okay? And it only applies trading within within the market hour. It does not apply pre-market or post-market. So be very careful with that. And again, if you're not using this route, LAMD lamp, whatever this route is going to be, is going to be 325. So make sure you actually are using that route. This does not mean, guys, that now we can go crazy and start over trading, right? So just keep your trading the same. The commission should not dictate the way you trade. We just lowered our operation costs. That's all we did. That's all good. But just continue to keep your good strategy in trading. Don't get too trigger happy now that we got per share. All right, guys. So what do we leave off? Anything else, guys? What else do we have?
Alex, I think the per trade would have to be a typo, because that as an ECN fee per trade would be extremely low.
Yeah. Oh, the ECN is per share, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's per share.
Per share. Yep. So, all right, guys. So let's get into this list. Let's finalize this. Let's see what we got that's good here. Let's start with BYND. So let's get some levels for BYND. Actually, we have some really good levels already. I don't think we need to add any more to this. So right here, you have your all-time high sitting right in there. Here we go. All-time high right in this area here. Highs and lows from yesterday and the day before, and also previous day close, which is becoming a very nice support. What's resistance right here now becoming support. And BYND looks like, based on this, is consolidating right now, right? So it looks like it might want to take another crack at this this level here, which is the high. So it's got some decent volume, 172,000 shares traded so far. Good pre-market action at the moment. Kind of got a little flat in this area here. It needs to get more volume going consistently, and this could be a nice little pre-market action here. So I like BYND. Let's look at AMD. AMD is just kind of continues to bang his head right here, this 28.48, which is the high of the pre-market. So I'm going to mark that down. And it's doing so with some pretty nice volume. So 1.9 million shares traded right now. So we'll mark that down, high of the pre-market. Above this, we have the high from yesterday. So we have that one there. Let's find something else in between here, 'cause that's a big run for AMD to do. So let's see, where can we find some levels where it's been tested over and over again. And I think we might have found one right here, 28.90. In this level here, you can tell several days opening and closing here, resistance on these 2 days. This day closes on it, so it's obviously respecting that level. And these days also opening and closing on this around this level as well. So that's a good level. Towards the bottom, you can mark down the low of the pre-market sitting at 27.92. That's a nice one there. And again, we're sitting right at that level right now. Looks like at this 28.48, which is the high of the pre-market. So good for AMD. I think we might be getting going here to crack this 28.48. Looks good for that. It's got some good momentum going here. So let's see what happens. Teva, wow, Teva looks crappy. I'm just gonna remove it, guys. This pre-market action does not look great at all. Here is Uber. Uber is interesting. We talked about some possible levels here. It looks like it's trying to break out of this range that it's been stuck in. So finally trying to get out of here and see if we can hit this 43.25, a great level. And then also we have this 44.97. But we also got this little spike over here, 44. That whole dollar number could be an area where we can get some resistance. So I think Uber is going to be fun to watch today. Also, they opened up at 42, so they're slightly above what they opened up at, and so that could be interesting today for them. Tiffany, okay, this is looking a lot better. We looked at it earlier. All we saw was this. This was not great. Now it looks like we might be getting into some kind of motion here. So let's remove some of these levels. Let's look at the daily, see what we can find. High of the pre-market right now, 91.74. So we'll hit that there. We have moving average coming in here. I'm going to mark that moving average sitting at around 93, 92.31. So let's mark that moving average. Also coincides with this high of the day from this day here, and then above that we got it all the way up here around 94.12. We have another level there, so plenty of levels towards the top. Towards the bottom we have previous day highs, previous day lows, also previous day close right in the middle. So plenty of levels for Tiffany in here. Now it's starting to get going. If we can get some momentum, some nice volume here, we could create a nice little pre-market action. So turning out a lot better. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. VRTX also looks like it's trying to put in a bottom here and get going. Volume is starting to increase higher, so this is good. Starting to look better in the pre-market action. I do love the way the daily chart looks right now. We have a nice big drop here from losing this 64 down 2.7. High of the pre-market 62.78 and the low 62.18. All right, let's find something towards the bottom here. So we also have a moving average right slightly above where the price action is right now. Towards the bottom, we have a level in this area here. We have this day and this day, that's 61.56, and all the way over here, very clean level at 60.62. Also, we have this nice moving average here as well. So we'll see what happens with this one. Pre-market action is becoming very active. As you can see, we hopefully get the ramp going on here with the volume. That's what we like to see as we're getting closer to the pre-market open. Box is nice because Box is down quite a bit, 15.3 on earnings, so this is good. The 15.50 high of the pre-market, low of the pre-market sitting at 14.51. So let's get some levels in between here. Look at that 15.51, nice. It's a nice little area there, so clearly becoming support now. All right, we all-time low. Where are we sitting here? Nope, right here we got some levels. All right, so let's go back. 2016, we got some real good levels here. Look at these 1450, 50, and 1550 are acting as support and resistance clearly here on this daily. Once we lose that 1450, you could very clean see this 1374 is an area of support right on here, and we also have one right in between this area here. Looks like this 1424, right? We got several days in here as well, and also in here kind of testing that 1424. So I'm going to mark that down close to 1452, but I like the way this is set up here because the next clean level is 1374, and that's a ways down from 1452. What do we have towards the top? Towards the top, we can go into these two areas here. All right, so here we have nice clean level right in here, 1645. It's a good level here. We got several days testing that as support. Then above, we can get up there above that. We really have the previous day close. I mean, that's a long way up. So we'll see if we can even get up there. That'll be a big recovery for this stock that's down 15% today. Let's look at what Soli's doing. So Soli for the low flow side is, let's get rid of this, is very active today. Over 318,000 shares traded, gapping up 18%. Nasty daily chart here, guys. As you can see, we got some levels towards the top, previous day highs and lows already on there. We can mark down this one towards the bottom, 17.25, and then towards the top we can add 24 and 28. Anything's possible. That's a stretch, but right now it's setting up to, looks like it wants to get going here, doing ABCD patterns here, and here on the pre-market action. So again, just looks pretty active. Just be careful with this one, guys. If you're trading low floats, really have good risk management. CTRM started off really nice, really strong here, heading from $4 or $5 over to 10, losing it a bit here, trying to find a foothold. But again, it just seems like it's struggling a bit, not looking as strong as it was earlier today. High of the pre-market sitting at 10, and then we clearly have some previous levels here, 1069. We have another one all the way up here at 18. So we definitely a runner based on some history we have here. And then towards the bottom, we have a level right in here at 847, and another one all the way down here at 781 in case we get into a falling angel strategy. Not looking too strong right now, but that could change as we get closer to the open. Again, another riskier stock, so just be very careful if you're trading this for the low flow side. All right, guys, so this is what we have. Wow, our stock list over here is getting a lot bigger. Just going to go through it real quick, see if I find something that we haven't looked at. Nvidia, Norm's been talking about that. Snap, I don't like the way really Snap trades. Could be very choppy, so I'll skip that. STM we looked at before, guys. This stock is almost kind of like the MTs and the FCAU. Don't trade well foreign stock. Look at this daily chart. Uber we have. Teba we looked at, doesn't look great. I think we looked at most of these. Ones that popped up here, not really going to do much, too much to change our list. MU, let's see what MU is doing. Yep, MU, the daily looks nice. It looks like it's finding some kind of support here finally, right? So it looks like it might be wanting to break out. You do have this moving average coming in here. See what the pre-market action looks like. And you gotta, looks like you have trying to break out. And this is a horrible pre-market action for any regular stock, but we know MU is going to get the volume. So I'm not going to add, I think with the ones I have now, let's look at, we have BYND, AMD is trying to really get over that 48. 2850 now. Uber also is looking interesting. TIFF here is trying to get going towards the top side, so this looks good. BTR is really putting in a move now after finding some kind of bottom here, so that's nice. And Box also becoming very active. So I think we got plenty. I like Box too because Box is down quite a bit. We got stocks for sure on this one. This one's going to be definitely probably one of my favorite ones to watch today. So that is it, guys. This is my watch list for the moment. Brian and Andrew will come on in a few minutes and they'll do their watch list, and then if they find something better than what I have here, I'll replace it and we'll move forward. Guys, thank you for joining the pre-market show. Norm, anything we missed before we log off?
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in one quick thing right here. So Tiffany and Company, TIF, we were looking at it earlier. There was not much volume. It was gapping down quite a bit in the pre-market earlier. And then, I'd mentioned that it was really guidance that they had, had issues with in their release. But if you look right at 8:30, I believe that's when their conference call started. So things can change on a dime on those conference calls, and the commentary that the CEO, CFO, whoever else might be on the call provides. So just I'll have that on my watch list now.
Yeah. Very, very clear difference here, right? See, nothing's happening. Yep. That call starts up, and it looks like whatever they're saying, somebody's liking it here, and it's the volume's starting to increase, and you can see a nice little pop here. So hopefully they don't screw it up. Say something they don't like, and it will come right back down. So be aware of that.
Anyway, that was my tidbit, but thank you guys for watching, and trade safe.
Absolutely, guys. Take care. Trade safe, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Hey, good morning.